Ready? Woo! Highly carbonated.
What's going on, beer lovers? Welcome to another episode. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob. And today we are at the Brewery's Anaheim location, Bruery Terreux, which features a completely sour lineup of beers, which are all stored in the building behind us. They have stacks on stacks of barrels filled with sour beer, as well as on tap everything that the brewery offers to us. This is one of my personal favorite breweries, so I'm really damn excited that we're finally here.
Jacob and I had a free day, and of course he had to pick a place that specializes in sours, but you know what? If there was one place I was gonna go to, it would be here. So I'm ready to dig in. Jacob, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's have some beer.
So here's your history lesson for Bruery Terreux. The brewery was originally started in 2008 by Patrick Roux. Although now if you go and visit them, they do just about every single style under the sun. The first original location, located in Placentia, California, only did Belgian style beers and a couple big barrel-aged beers. Now they basically put everything in a barrel, and they throw every kind of ingredient and spice and adjunct that you can think of into their beer. They do experimentation on a whole new level. Every single beer, they're always trying to do something new. Patrick Roux is always trying to come up with these new beers that are inspired by cocktails, inspired by food, inspired by just random flavor profiles. And every single, pretty much week, you're gonna end up getting a new beer at either of the two locations. The brewery is basically experimentation in a glass. If you wanna know what beer can be, come to Terreux and you will find 2 extremes, 5,000 extremes, and everything in between. It's one of my favorite places to go and just relax, and I hope you like it too. Now, let's have some beer.
All right, guys, so first up for me is going to be fruit with raspberry, lychee, and tangerine. Now, fruit is actually a normal, like, base batch beer that they do here, and they do one-offs of it with all kinds of different fruit flavors. After they brew it, they brew this new fruit, whatever types of fruits they want to use on top of it, and that's their beer. So this is 4.5%. It sounded really interesting. I don't think I've had lychee in a beer before, and raspberry and tangerine is right up my alley. If I was gonna try a Terreux beer, might as well try the fruit. So here we go. Cheers. Well, that's a tart beer. It's actually really, really fucking good though. Wow. I wasn't able to swallow because my mouth was salivating so much. So I had to swallow my saliva before I could swallow the beer. Wow. I think this is like the first like sour beer I've ever had where I've just been like mind blown. Oh my god, that's so good. It's just the right amount of like tartness, and you get a little bit of the tartness on the nose, but the fruit just boom, from nose to body to finish is just incredible. I'm getting the tangerine on the nose. It's like a candied tangerine. I'm getting like that soft, like rich raspberry flavor, and then you get like the subtleness of a lychee. And then when you dig into it, I feel the pucker, I feel the flavor, it's hitting my jowls or my taste buds, but it's all good. It almost wakes them up just so I can get all that fantastic fruit flavor. This is incredible. What a way to start the day.
So what I have here is the Breweries Mischief, which is a golden strong ale at 8.5%, and it's probably one of my go-to beers. I've definitely drinking more than a bomber of it in my time, in one go, and it's just one of the most drinkable beers. Even though it's 8%, it is something that just goes down so smooth, and it's got a nice hop bite, even though it's a Belgian beer, and despite being 8%, it's not very boozy, and I can drink this any weather. It is definitely something I would rather have in summer, but give me it now on a cloudy day, perfect. Yeah, the hop character really comes in a kind of a grassy sort of thing. It's not hoppy in that fruity sense. Any fruit you get is really from the yeast instead of the hops. So rather than being tropical, it's more estery, kind of slightly banana-y kind of thing. Definitely got that like grassy hop bite in the back, and it's just, yeah, it's drinkable. I couldn't tell it's 8%, and that's probably how I finished the bomber. So cheers.
All right, so the next beer up is actually not a Terreux beer, but it is a brewery beer. It's from their offshoot brand, it's called Placation. This is a 6.9% Northeastern style IPA. It's brewed with Citra, Simcoe, Amarillo, and Centennial hops. All great hop varieties that I love. I've been a real fan of their hazy beers of recent. Friendsgiving was incredible. Their Northeastern collab with Highland Park was incredible. So I'm excited to try this one. I haven't had it yet, so here we go. Cheers. Oh yeah. This one is very different from some of the other ones that I've had from Offshoot. It's good, it's different. It's a different style of these hazy beers. It definitely has like a juicy, like piney aroma to it. But when you dig in, I get actually a lot of earthiness with the fruit. It's like a pineapple that's been drugged through dirt a little bit. And I know that sounds bad, like pineapple through dirt, but it's good. It works well together and it's different. It actually reminds me a lot of Starfish from Brewery West. I had that can a while back, and it also was like a hazy style beer that had those earthy qualities to it. If you don't understand what I'm saying when I say like dirt and earthy, and you're thinking, ew, that's gross, please, like, go try a beer that's earthy and you'll get what I'm saying, and it's not a bad thing. For New England style IPAs, I'd probably say I prefer the more tropical route, but this is still pretty damn good. I like it.
So this lovely burnt orange colored beer I have in front of me is Sour in the Rye POG. POG, of course, standing for Passion Fruit, Orange, and Guava. So this is a sour ale with rye that's loaded with fruit. POG anything is usually damn tropical and damn delicious. And I personally think tropical fruits go very well with sour beer. They can be hard to pull off because just tropical fruits, when they go sour, have that flavor profile, can be kind of almost stinky. If you've had just some of those, maybe even smell fresh guava smells kind of weird sometimes, or in papaya especially. But I personally love it, and I love Sour in the Rye. It's a great aging beer if you want to age a sour beer in your cellar. Sour in the Rye would be a cool start. But let's get into the POG version of it. Cheers. Oh man, yeah, the guava really comes through. Passion fruit's kind of light. You do get a general citrus. I don't know if I would nail it as specifically orange, but definitely citrus. Oh man, yeah, guava. Whew. There's a nice big sour bite on the finish. It definitely makes you pucker, but for me, it tastes so much like the flesh of the fruit that I don't feel the sourness is overwhelming in any way. It feels like the right amount because it feels like I'm just eating a really sour fruit and not a overly sour beer. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of overripe fruit. Just in a really good way though. I can definitely crush the shit out of this in summer. It's a little weird to have on a cloudy day, but this is my jam. Like I've said before, I'm very at home with sour beer and I'm loving this. Just the flesh of a fruit. You really get that kind of pithy guava-ness going on. Oh, it's just so great to smell though.
My next beer, I'm hoping, is gonna take me back to my childhood. You guys know how I like doing that with my beers. This is called Bake This Apple Pie. It's a 10% strong ale, and it's got apples, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I remember growing up, my mom constantly baking in the kitchen, cooking in the kitchen. One of my favorite dessert foods was apple pie. So when I saw this, I thought, that sounds amazing. Bake This is one of those other series that the brewery does, where basically they have a large batch and then they do one-offs of it. They'll add different types of fruits or flavors or combinations to create all kinds of different stuff. So I'm excited to try this one. I haven't had any of their Bake This series, so let's dig in. Cheers. Oh. Oh my God. I don't know how they do it. Holy crap. Woo. Wow. All right, guys, so this straight up tastes like apple pie. You get the apples, you get the cinnamon, you get that sweet spice, and you even get the pie crust. I mean, it literally tastes like I'm drinking apple pie. I will say that the apple aspect of it is a little tart. I get a little bit of tartness in there that kind of takes away from it just a little bit. But other than that, wow. I can still taste it on my tongue. It's like I just took a bite of a fresh, hot apple pie. Wow. The other thing that's scary about this beer is it's 10%. This is a 10% strong ale. Doesn't taste like 10%. It's smooth drinking. You don't get any indication that this is a strong beer. And this is the type of beer that you probably won't sip on because it tastes like you're drinking dessert. So you just go to town on it, just like you would an apple pie, slice after slice. Next thing you know, the whole pie is gone and you're drunk. So yeah, that's this beer. Wow.
So this next beer I've been really excited to review because this won I believe, silver medal at the GABF Awards this year. And this is Train to Beersel, which is a lambic-inspired sour ale. And the kind of reference here is, of course, Oud Beersel, which is a longtime sour producer in Belgium. Lambics can be kind of hard for American breweries to pull off, although they are going through an amazing feat to nail that style and then even improve upon it in some ways. So I was really excited when I first tried this, and I thought they've nailed it. This is lambic. It's really good. This definitely reminds me of something from Belgium. And because of that, I went out and decided to buy some Beersel beers to kind of put it against. This is good. However, I will say if you're not used to the way Belgian style lambics and sours are compared to Americans, this might be kind of weird. Because on the nose, I'm getting wood, I'm getting must, and I'm almost getting something that reminds me of like asphalt, which I know is a weird thing to say that you're smelling in a beer, and I think most people would say probably not something you should smell in a beer. Who wants to drink asphalt? But Belgian style sours get some weird, like burnt circuit board is something I've heard people get from Dryfontein, which is a longtime lambic producer, and it's just, you get all these weird smells and aromas and tastes from lambic, but that's part of the charm for me. I'm a weirdo, but when I'm smelling these weird smells from a beer made down the street from my house practically, I get excited. And on the taste, it's got a nice strong acidity. It's not overwhelming. You get a lot of just oaky wood character and kind of this mustiness that reminds you of a cellar. And you get this, man, just a nice complexity of taste. I could talk forever about this beer, but honestly, try some Lambic from Belgium, and then come try Train to Beer Soul. It's a really great beer, and I hope they make way more sours like this at Terreux, because this is something that this is what I want to drink in the summer. This is what I want to drink when I want to drink Lambic. So good on you guys. You earned that gold medal or silver medal. I would have gave it a gold medal if it got silver. But that's just me. I'm gonna shut up now because I'm rambling.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge pirate fan. And when I saw the name of this beer, I knew it was something that I had to try. It's called Tell No Tales. It's a rum and bourbon barrel aged dark ale with yams, molasses, maple syrup, vanilla, and pumpkin pie spices. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna remember all that. I have to read it. It's just way too much. Here's the thing. It's 12.5%, and it's aged in rum barrels and bourbon barrels, and it's got yams and molasses and pumpkin pie spices and all these unusual flavors that are probably gonna be in this beer. And to me, you know, they call it Tell No Tales. Well, a pirate's life for me. I'm gonna dig in, so here we go. Cheers. Oh yeah. Oh. All I gotta say is there's a lot going on in this beer. When it comes to the yams, to be honest with you, I can't really taste it. I've had a couple of their other beers that have yams in it. I can't really taste it. I just think it's a different brew style. I guess if I just had it without all the other fixins built into this beer, I could probably pull that flavor out more, but there's so much going on with this beer that there are certain flavors that really stand out. So one is gonna be the rum. How do I put this? I love to travel, and one of my favorite places to travel is the Caribbean. And this beer, I could just picture myself kicking back on a cruise ship, looking at islands as we pass them by, like just sipping on my little rum beer, Tell No Tales. Another predominant flavor that I get out of this is the pumpkin spice. I actually got it on the nose first. That was like the main thing that stood out. And then when you actually dig into the beer, you get it on the back end. It kind of lingers with you a little bit. It kind of gives you that pumpkin pie spice beer. I would say that that's kind of the vibe it's giving me. This is almost like a Halloween beer for me. But more than anything, that rum. That rum, it's like a rum beer, and it's so good. I don't know if you guys have ever tried rum cake before. If you have, I think you will really appreciate this beer. If you have not, please go find some rum cake and try it. It'll change your life, you're welcome. And you know, for me, 12.5%, I probably couldn't drink a lot of this, but you know, if I was riding on the Black Pearl with Jack Sparrow and he wanted to get drunk, I'm a beer guy, I'll drink this instead of just straight rum. And when he asks why the rum's gone, I'll say, because I put it in all my beer. Cheers.
All right, everyone, so now it's time to get into the heavy stuff, and what better way to do that than with a barley wine? So let's do that. So this is kind of a weird one. This is the Brewery's Raisin Brain, which is described as a dark barley wine. I don't really know what a dark barley wine consists of as opposed to a regular barley wine, because I've never heard of that style before, but that's kind of what I expect from the brewery, to kind of mess around with styles like that. But all right, here we go. If you couldn't guess from the name, Raisin Brain is a raisin bread inspired beer. So it's gonna taste like bread and raisins. Cheers. So I failed to mention earlier, this is also an 11.3% beer. This is a pretty big beer. Not barrel aged at all. So this is entirely coming from just the amount of sugars that were fermented in this beer. And this tastes like a pretty big beer. I will say it's not boozy in that hot heat kind of way, but it stays on your tongue, and you kind of get this taste that you get when you're tasting a big boozy beer. just on the tongue. Not so much going down, although it does feel like it's a significant step up from everything I've had so far. I do kind of get a dark fruit kind of thing. I don't know if I would say raisin. I might have guessed dates. Honestly, they're kind of in the same family though. So, but honestly, it could be a bit more bready for me. They're calling it raisin brain, so I'm gonna hold it up to a raisin bread barley wine, a barley wine soaked raisin bread, which I would also eat. I think it could go for more of that doughy character. I think the kind of maybe the character of the alcohol is kind of overwhelming the bread aspect of it. That's just me. I think it could do with more of that. It's definitely getting the dark fruit though, so that is good. And it definitely isn't as boozy as maybe an 11% could be, thankfully. But it is a big beer, and I'm definitely gonna take my time with it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to review much else after this.
All right, guys, we're down to the last beer. And this one I have to thank Jacob for being a beer addict and being a member of the Breweries Reserve Society, because that's the only reason why I get to drink this right now. And the cool part is it's a collab with Garage Project, which is a brewery I really, really enjoy. This one is called Ngongo. It's 7.2%, and it's a Foeder Saison with New Zealand wildflower honey. Now, the honey is what got me, New Zealand got me, Garage Project definitely got me. Now, you guys know I'm not a big sour fan. Saisons are kind of hit or miss with me, but you know, especially after the fruit that I had earlier, I have a lot of faith in this brewery, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy this. So here we go, cheers. Man, this beer almost drinks like a wine. It has almost like a grape characteristic to it. I get a ton of floral, like on the nose and in the body. Like I feel like I just put a flower petal on my tongue. And the honey, I'm really glad because it doesn't overpower this beer. This is not a honey beer. It's a beer with a honey accent to it. It definitely lends itself to not being something that is like one strong predominant flavor. It lets a lot of different things play on your palate a little bit. It's not super tart. It's actually very light, especially for 7.2. I'm starting to learn that these sour beers can be anywhere between 3% and 8%, and you really can't tell the difference, or at least I can't yet. But I like it. To me, how would I describe it? I don't know if this would be like a dessert beer so much. So this reminds me of a wine. And typically when I drink wine, it's gonna be with dessert. I don't know if I'd have this with dessert, but maybe if I was having like a really classy lunch somewhere, you know, like out in the vineyard or something, and I didn't want wine, I wanted a beer, this would be very, very drinkable. Yeah, I like this a lot. I'm wondering if Jacob's gonna like it. It doesn't have that salty characteristic that I know he typically likes, but that's more like a Goza. I don't know, Jacob, you wanna try it? Sure. So this beer isn't something that you would eat with like a salty food, like barbecue or something. To me, I'm picturing like a baguette or like a panini, like a nice little, like, I don't know, turkey panini or something, and this is like your palate cleanser. It's enjoyable. I like it a lot. All right, so my last beer, but definitely not my least beer, is 15% Sucre, aged in tequila barrels. Now, Sucre for me now has a very kind of special place in my heart because Sucre was my wedding beer that I happened very recently. Not to brag or anything, but I had Sucre Madeira, so that means it was same base beer but aged in port wine barrels, which was really lovely. I enjoy the shit out of it. The port wine is a dessert wine, meaning it's much sweeter than maybe some other ones. Tequila is not very sweet, so I'm really interested to see what tequila barrels do to this same base beer. So let's go in. Cheers.
Oh man. So the Brewery's Anniversary series, which Sucre is a part of, is just really big, boozy, old ales aged in some kind of barrels for about a year. This smells of just old ale, maltiness of wood, oak, and you get that hint of like sharp tequila. It's kind of, I don't really know how to describe tequila in beer. For me, it's different than just drinking tequila as just a shot or even sipping it. It's very sharp, it cuts through just about any beer it's in. It's kind of unwieldy and hard to match a good beer style to tequila barrels because they're bold. So let's get into this and see how they manage the taste. So this is still quite sweet, which means a lot of the sweetness probably came from the original base beer and not just the Madeira barrels that I had, because tequila shouldn't add too much sweetness, but this is still pretty damn sweet. And the tequila is also not very overpowering, which I am happy for, because that was always a worry. This is nice. I'm gonna have to grab some of this next time it's on sale. Damn, yeah, this is nice. It's smooth for 15%. It is heavy, it is big, it is very warming as it goes down, and I'm already wearing a sweater, and now I'm like, man, come on, breeze. It's getting a little hot in here. Is it just me? Woo. Yeah, very warming, but I will gladly drink the rest of this. It's dark, it is kind of like that caramelized sugar, molasses, just dark sugars, but it's gonna give me diabetes, but I'm happy about that. And like I said, the tequila isn't overwhelming. It's kind of a nice finish. It cuts through some of the sweetness without being overbearing itself. And yeah, this was probably a good choice of barrel to put together with this beer. And I hope the next iteration of Anniversary Series uses tequila barrels again, because it's an underutilized barrel in beer, and this turned out well. Thank you guys.
All right, guys, so now Jacob and I have tried the beers. It's time for us to tell you which ones our favorites were. Now, before I get started into what our favorite beers were, I do want to just take a minute to tell you guys just how incredible this brewery is. I mean, Jacob did not talk this place up at all when it came to the actual like design of the brewery. All he kept saying was, their beers are amazing, their beers are amazing. You gotta try their sours. Jeff, they'll change your mind. Like, you gotta go, it's gonna be awesome. And I get here and my first thought is, holy crap, this place is beautiful. I mean, you guys can see, throughout this video, you've seen the wood panels, you guys have seen the inside where they had like the antler chandelier. Inside they have barrels on barrels on barrels. Here you just got beautiful overhanging like patio area. If it was pouring rain, our heads are covered right now. During the summer when it's really hot, Jacob said they got misters up here. During the winter when it's really cold, they got heat lights up here. I mean, I don't know, this place is awesome. I mean, just look behind us too, the lights. Oh God, it's, I don't know.
It's a good date spot.
Yeah, if you live in Southern California, you want to show a girl a good craft beer spot, and you want her to be blown away by like the way that it looks, and you don't want to drive to Stone and deal with the crowds, I would say this is probably the second best brewery design I've seen next to Stone. So well done, Bruery and Bruery Terreux for the awesome location and just making a really awesome brewery. So anyways, let's get down to the beer, shall we? Jacob, what was your favorite beer of the day?
So it was really hard for me to pick because I like a lot of brewery beers and I have them pretty often. But when it comes down to it, it's now pretty much winter time. I mean, I'm in a sweater and Jeff's in a t-shirt. Obviously that tells you something. I like to be warm. And only one of the beers that I had had a warming effect. Even though I loved Sour in the Right Pog and I loved Train of Beer Soul, I want those in the summer. Summer is over. Although maybe next week in California it'll be summer again, but right now it's not summer.
It's like 94 last week.
That was stupid. Anyways, right now it's not summer, and the one beer that warmed me up was Sucre in tequila barrels. And Sucre and just their line of old ales and anniversary beers are great as it is. The tequila barrel really added something that I liked. It was interesting, it was unique, and I can probably count on one hand how many breweries have attempted tequila barrels and then succeeded in doing them well. It's just not something that's done very easily. And they did. So kudos to you, and I'm gonna have way more Sucre in the future than I probably should, but that's a tale for another time.
Well, I will say too, just real quick, on this beer in particular, I'm not a tequila fan, and I still really enjoyed the beer. I will tell you, I got a little bit of the tequila on the nose and the front end, and Jacob kind of laughed at me because as soon as the real tequila flavor hit, I did one of these, like I just bit into a sour lemon, and that's just my reaction to tequila. But I will tell you, the malt profile on there is fantastic as well. Yeah. It's got a lot of old world flavors and aromas out of it. It just tastes like, what I told him is it tastes like a beer that was brewed on a pirate ship that was stolen by Mexicans and they put them in barrels. Like, that's what that beer is.
How can you say no to that? That sounds like such a great time.
It does. A little fiesta, if you will.
And I will say, I do like tequila, so that is also a personal preference. You know, if you don't like tequila, this probably isn't going to be for you. But Jeff, what was your favorite?
Okay, so on that note, he mentioned how he loved tequila. I love rum. And I'm sure you guys got that from my beer review of Tell No Tales. That one was very, very close to being my favorite. I will tell you that is a type of beer I want to have on a certain occasion. It's not the type that I would sit back and drink on a day-to-day. But holy crap, the rum presence was fantastic. Oh my god, I loved it. You know what I would love with that? And I don't know where this comes from, but it's just in my head, is banana. I would love to try that beer.
Foster.
Okay, Bananas Foster, yeah.
No,
rum,
you're right.
banana, cinnamon.
You're absolutely right.
Okay. I don't know why, but it just sounded like it would go really good.
Yes.
You know, perhaps adding a little bit of like roasted banana to that recipe would just add a little extra oomph to it.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that would be really good. Let's talk about my favorite. Jacob, where are we at right now?
Bruery Terreux.
And what do they specialize in here?
Sour beer.
Well, Jacob, who do you know that loves beer but isn't a fan of sour beers?
Ooh, it's gotta be Jeff.
It's gotta be Jeff. Well, believe it or not, my favorite beer was Fruit.
Oh!
And it's brewed right here at Bruery Terreux. So, Fruit is brewed with raspberries. Oh my god, see? So I was
salivation though.
Yeah. Salivation is real. I was telling you guys earlier that I was salivating when I was drinking this. I just like squirted salivation on my arm. Like it wasn't a joke, I swear.
Oh.
All I gotta say is look, raspberry, lychee, tangerines, fantastic combination. One of the things that scares me most about sour beers is that level of tartness, and it makes my jowls hurt a little bit when it gets too tart, and I just feel like it blasts my palate out. This is super drinkable. It's tart, but not overly tart. It didn't make my jowls hurt. I don't feel like my palate's blown out. If anything, it wakes my palate up. It just like bitch slaps it and says, hey, get up. It's time to party. The only way I can put it is, I don't know, I could drink this sitting at home. I could drink this at the beach. I could drink this sitting outside on a spring day. I could drink this in a funnel. I mean, I could drink this anyway. It really doesn't matter. It's a really damn good beer. It makes me really curious about the rest of their fruit beers and the series that they do, and all the different fruit varieties that they have. But this one in particular, I just find that it's very well balanced. Tangerine, you get that candied tangerine. It's very bold flavor. The raspberry is, you know, like a little bit tart, super sweet. And then the lychee's kind of mellow and kind of like keeps everything chill.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful balance. And by the way, look at that color. For me, you can't go wrong with a beer like this. And if you're somebody who's not a fan of sours, or you've never had a sour, and you want to see what all the fuss is about, for me, I am a converted anti-sour beer lover. Terreux did it. I mean, to me, I've had some good sours, but this I would choose over many other beer styles any day of the week. This would be my on-tap regular if I had one close to me, which actually, I plan on coming back here because this place is fucking dope. So, Jacob, you're taking me back. He's a reserve member, so why the hell not, right? So, now you guys have heard what our favorite beers of the day were. But now we've had the honor of being offered a tour of Bruery Terreux, and we're gonna go take it right now, so check it out.
Glasses on glasses. That's what I always wanted. Alright, so I'm here with Ellen, the manager of both Bruery and Bruery Terreux tap rooms, right here in the middle of the brewery cellar, surrounded by these lovely barrels, which are my favorite. So Ellen, I would love to ask you, how did you get into craft beer?
Well, I guess my journey started back in college when I grew up in Indiana, and I was buying the biggest bang for my buck, which at the time was Bell's Two Hearted.
Oh, nice. A lot better than me in college.
So that's I literally bought it because it was a high ABV beer. Like that was that was the driving thing. But over time, my palate has grown, and I got more into networking with craft breweries when I was living in Denver, and I had a food truck, and we were setting up setting up there. And when I moved out to California, this kind of fell in my lap. I started out in the food and beverage world and worked for the Four Seasons for about 9 years. And then this sort of fit my experience level and my interest, and that's kind of where it went from there.
Awesome. All right, so as you both have beers, what is your favorite beer here?
I think probably right now my favorite beer is Train to Beer Salt. It's our Imperial Ruse, and it's delicious.
I agree. That was, as you guys heard before, that was one of my three that I was kind of tied between. So yeah, that's a damn good beer. And so hopefully, what can you kind of give us a little hint as to maybe some of these future barrels might be releasing to the public?
Well, I think probably the most exciting things for me are beer and wine hybrids that we'll be doing.
Okay.
We'll be releasing a very exclusive members-only beer next month, actually.
Okay.
Called Yaunt. It's a still beer beer wine hybrid that's been bottled in like beautiful Cabernet bottles, but it's very limited, small release, so it's gonna be hard to get your hands on that one.
You mentioned it was a still beer, so it's not gonna have any carbonation?
Correct.
Wow, okay, so that's definitely...
It's the second one we've done that's totally like a still beer.
Cool, okay, so you're really going for that beer wine hybrid.
Yeah, I think we're one of the few out there that are really like pushing the boundaries of that.
Yeah, I would say, I don't think, between even both of our channels, we've never reviewed a still beer at all.
Yeah.
That's gotta change.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us,
thank you.
especially amongst all the beautiful barrels. This is Ellen. If you see her, say hi. She is in charge of making your experience in the tap rooms a pleasant one. And as far as I'm concerned, she's doing a damn good job. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for having us, and cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys, so that's gonna do it here at the Bruery Terreux. Man, we had a great time, had some awesome beers, and really enjoyed our beer tour. So those foeder tanks that you saw on the brew tour are the largest foeder tanks on the West Coast. They were freaking huge.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for giving us the opportunity to check out all the barrels and answer some questions from us. It was a pleasure meeting you, and it was a pleasure just being here. Your hospitality was fantastic. But y'all already know that I'm a fanboy of this place, so I'm gonna give it up to Jeff.
Well, I'm now a new fanboy, and I plan on coming back here very, very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know that we really enjoyed making this episode, but if you did enjoy it, make sure that you give us a thumbs up. That's gonna help us get up in the rankings. It's gonna give us more of an incentive to make videos like this. Also, make sure you leave a comment below if there's a brewery you'd like us to tour next. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe. Okay, the more subscribers, the better. It's gonna help us get more exposure. Share it with your friends. I mean, this is all about beer, and it's all about helping you guys find the best breweries out there. Until next time, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you again on Let's Have Some Beer. Cheers.